Be cold outside, things are getting toasty warm at Global Voice Broadcasting. Heat up your winter nights with the hottest topics, the hottest celebrities, and today's best music. It's why Global Voice Broadcasting is becoming your 24/7 home for the music and talk you want right now. Discover your favorite shows and music anytime at globalvoicebroadcasting.com. Welcome to the world of Cabarabia, the world where Broadway, jazz, comedy, and pop share the spotlight, and a 2-drink minimum. With your host, producer, director Clifford Bell, keeping the world safe for live performances in intimate settings on Global Voice Broadcasting.
And welcome back. Welcome back to Cabarabia, the little podcast that could, here on Global Voice Broadcasting. I have a really, really interesting show for you today. I think this is a wonderful installment in my ambition for this show to present to you all things that are relevant to the nightclub experience. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this show is there's so many aspects that go into live entertainment in intimate settings. And this is a very exciting episode, in my opinion, because we represent something of getting on the ground floor of a very exciting new project that's going on in San Diego, a burgeoning new cabaret community in San Diego. This afternoon, one of my guests is Tim Moore, a gentleman named Tim Moore, who is a businessman who happened into the cabaret scene a few years back and fell in love with it, and is now spearheading an effort to create an organization in San Diego called the San Diego Association of Cabaret Clubs. And they are having their first ever San Diego Cabaret Awards next week. So first of all, let me welcome Tim Moore. Thank you so much for being here.
Clifford, my pleasure.
We will be back to talk to you at length in just a second, but I also want to introduce my other guests here. We have the very, very, very special and extraordinary gentleman here, a very celebrated cabaret performer, but who we were just joking is also the oldest living newcomer to the cabaret world, having started his performing career at 72 after a long, illustrious career as a Broadway songwriter, a television screenwriter for many, many hit television shows. At 72, he started performing his own music, and now he is one of a national treasure. Michael Feinstein calls him a national treasure, as do I, and I'm so thrilled to have him in the audience, in the studio with us today, Mr. Ray JESSEL.
Thank you, Clifford.
Thank you so much for being here. So, Tim, let's just start with you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what's been going on with you and the San Diego Association of Cabaret Clubs.
A lot has been going on down in San Diego relative to cabaret, and this is just one more move in a direction to expose cabaret and, as I said, bridge the chasm between cabaret and the rest of the San Diego entertainment community. About a month ago, I pulled together and founded the San Diego Association of Cabaret Clubs, and I was poking around the internet, and I looked at MAC, and I thought, well, boy, there's an organization that I probably can get by with using them as a loose guideline as I pull this together.
For anyone who doesn't know, let's just clarify that MAC is the New York Association, Manhattan Association of Cabaret Clubs, which is very prestigious organization, 5,000 or so strong, I think. It's been around a long time, very powerful, and a good model for you to work from.
It is a good model to start with. And as I was pulling this together, I thought, we're at the end of the calendar year. What better time to think back to all the great things that have happened in cabaret here in San Diego through 2013. And I thought, boy, there have been some great shows down at Martini's above 4th. We've had a couple of great folks perform for us in our monthly showcases at the open mic that I hold Tuesday night over at Hennessy's. I said, we could probably roll that into a really nice event and call it the San Diego Cabaret Awards. So here, that's how we arrived at the 2013 SAC Awards.
Which is next Monday night. Not everybody will watch this in real time. We're broadcasting for the first time live on Monday, January 20th. So the awards are Monday, January 27th.
That's correct. At the Comedy Store, La Jolla, Doors open at 6:15. People will have a chance to get there a little bit early, mingle, network a little bit. The show starts at 7, and it's probably going to be a 3.5 hour event. So be prepared.
And
bring
you
a
have
pillow.
performances as well as awards?
Yes,
And
performances, although performance is part of the evening, really. The drive is to educate and increase awareness. I have a few folks that'll get up there as presenters and speak to cabaret as it relates to their particular discipline, whether or not they're a producer, promoter, reviewer, and some of the other disciplines. It's a great night to recognize. In fact, award is not really a good term, I think. Recognition is really what that night is all about. Everyone in attendance that I've invited will be recognized for their wonderful contribution to our cabaret effort in San Diego.
excellent. And that's one of the reasons how we got Mr. Jessel involved with us this afternoon. I was
That's
asking
right.
you who would be performing, and you said, well, my surprise guest is Ray Jessel. I said, well, don't hide that light under a bushel. Let's have Ray join us in the studio. So, Ray, let's talk a little bit with you about your impressive and long career. I was just asking you, you're from Wales, which was surprising to me. Tell me a little
It's
bit.
surprising to me, too. Yeah, no, I grew up in Cardiff, Wales, and did my music studies there. I did a music degree from the University of Wales, and went on to Paris to postgrad work, and then the family emigrated to Canada.
Right.
So that's when I first came to these shores, as it were.
And when you began, you were, you said, a serious composer.
Yeah, I was turning out serious works, but particularly when you're starting out, you can't make a living doing that. So I made my living by orchestrating and arranging. I did that for a while, and then along the way in Toronto, I met this extremely talented musician by the name of Marion Grudeff, and Marion was. Apart from being an amazing concert pianist, she was music director for an annual review in Canada called Spring Thaw.
I love that.
And it was very successful. And she invited me at first to write if I would write some songs for it. And they worked out. And she knew more about the theater music than I did, and so at first she was my editor, and then we became collaborators.
Which is interesting because that opened a whole new chapter of your creativity.
Oh yeah, no, I for example, when we talk about the Great American Songbook, well, Marion knew it all, and that's what she loved to do. She would play Rachmaninoff and Chopin, but what she loved was Gershwin and Jerome Kern, and that's how I learned all about that stuff.
And that led to an extraordinary achievement of the Broadway musical Baker Street.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, actually, we developed a musical based on the life of P.T. Barnum first, and that attracted the attention of a producer by the name of Alexander Cohen, and Alice Cohen loved the score for Barnum and hired us on the spot. It was like a Broadway, like a Hollywood musical.
Very
right
exciting.
There. And but then we ran into problems. He had problems finding anybody to write the book that he liked. And he had the reverse problem with a property option called Baker Street, in which he liked the book, but he wasn't happy with the score. The directors and choreographers said, dump the score. So, and that's when he brought us in to write that score. So that's.
And that was a musical about Sherlock Holmes.
About Sherlock Holmes called Baker Street, yeah.
And it is a piece of history. I know that it's something collectors look out.
And after that, we did another show for Alex Cohen, a remake of Baker Street. A remake of Hellzabobbin.
Right.
And which also was supposed to go to Broadway. In fact, we had many rehearsals with George Abbott, who was going to direct.
How exciting!
It was exciting, and but the financing fell through, and that didn't happen.
And I know that Louis Armstrong recorded the title tune from that.
That's right. That was such a thrill.
And had a hit with it, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I know I'm just reading some notes from your bio, and as a songwriter, I know you had a song recorded by Peggy Lee. That's very exciting.
Yeah. Well, strangely enough, there was a friend who was a performer in Baker Street, who went to work for Peggy Lee and told us at some time or other that she was preparing a new recording, a new LP, and that she was looking for material, and we had this song that seemed to suit her, and lo and behold, it seems she recorded it in London for an LP. It was never released over here.
Well, you really have had the greats: Louis Armstrong, Peggy, Sammy Davis Jr.
Can't complain. Sammy did one of the songs from Baker Street, "A Married Man." It's on one of his albums. Yeah.
And Mr. Feinstein himself is recorded.
Mr. Feinstein not only recorded a few of our songs, but also we collaborated with him on a song.
Oh yeah.
A song called "Swing Is Back in Style."
Oh, fun!
Which was fun. When I say we, on many of my songs, particularly the serious ones, my collaborator is my wife, Cynthia Thompson.
Oh, yes.
And we work on the lyrics together. I work
Lovely.
do the music. Yeah.
Great.
So.
Now, before we get into your career as a performer, which is really how I have come to know you more, you also left the Broadway community and ended up with your day job as in television, which is unusual.
Yes.
So tell us how that happened.
Well, that happened because eventually I couldn't quite make a living just on advances and on Broadway and not having shows actually happen.
Right.
And I had to seek other ways of making a living, and I had friends who I knew from Canada who had gone directly from Toronto out here to Hollywood to work in television, and they suggested I come out here, and they put my name forward for a show here, and I was picked up, as it were, on trial.
Wow.
For a show called The Gold Diggers, and the rest, as they say, is history.
I remember that like it was yesterday.
For the next 20 years, that's what I did, was write scripts for TV shows.
Very exciting. And you did Dean Martin and Carol Burnett.
Dean Martin, Carol Burnett. Yeah.
I know
the Osmonds. I did a show for Michael Jackson, his summer show, The Jacksons.
And then The Love Boat.
The Love Boat.
So
head of the class.
Yeah, I think that it's relatively unusual to have somebody who's been known as a songwriter to have so much success as a scriptwriter. That I can't think of too many people that have that same experience.
There were people who I met when I first came out here who worked on television shows, but they were turning out musical material for them. In fact, that's how I didn't get that work, because they were already doing it.
The Billy Barnes types.
Exactly.
Right. My dear friend Billy Barnes.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you've had quite a successful run as a scriptwriter.
Oh yeah.
And Love Boat.
The Love Boat.
Head of the
class. Yeah. And and we did a show for, I guess the last series that we did was a show for Shari Lewis, writing songs for Hush Puppy and Lamb Chop.
So how did it happen that you became a performer at 72?
Well, it came about because I used to perform. The only performance I did was just at parties for friends. And I was at a party. There was another songwriter by the name of Marshall Barrer.
Yes, of course.
And he used to have these crazy parties out in Venice, and I would do silly songs there. And Michael Feinstein happened to be at many of these parties and heard songs of mine like Oxnard and so on, and started performing them, or he asked me.
I had mentioned to you earlier that the first time I was ever aware of you as a songwriter was I had gone to see Bruce Valanche's first act that he ever did by himself out front, called Big and Alive. Big and Alive is what and one of the highlights of the evening was he sang your song Oxnard, and we were all like, what is that? It was so cute.
Well, anyway, but after a while, Michael Feinstein said to me, Ray, I'm getting laughs with these songs, but you really should be out there doing this stuff yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the prod I needed I didn't have enough material for an evening, so I started writing material for my act. And then at the Gardenia, what was it, 2002, something like that, I did my first performance in a public place, and which was kind of nerve-wracking, but it seemed to work, and that was it. That's when I started at 72.
Most promising newcomer. Well, let's take a look at a clip of you in action. This is a particularly popular song of yours, which when you hear it, you'll know why. Gabe, will you hit us with that, please?
Being gay can be a problem, it's true. But being straight can have its problems too. I met this girl, and she's just great. But the problem is that I am straight. You ask, how can this be? Listen, and you will see. She's got that style, she's got that smile, she's got the talk, she's got the walk, she's got that zing. There's just one thing, she's got a penis. She's got a penis. She's got that flair, knows what to wear. She's got that face, that girlish grace. She's got pizzazz, too bad she has a penis. She's got a penis. Now, nobody's perfect, I must admit. Say, how many times do all the pieces fit? She's got more going than most other dolls. Oops, I forgot about the balls. But she's so hip, this babe's a trip. She's distinguée, she's got cachet. She's quite a dame, ain't it a shame? A crime that's heinous. Those lips, those eyes, then big surprise, that penis. Some failure, always some flaw. Ain't that what they call Murphy's Law? But male genitalia, that's where I draw the line. Besides, hers is bigger than mine. She's got class, she's got that sass, she's got that chic, she's got mystique. She's smooth, she's hot, she's got the lot, except amount of Venus. It's a tragedy, but where that should be, she's got a penis. She's got a penis. My life's a mess, 'cause under that dress, she's got a P-E-N-I-S. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Harry.
Great, Jessel. What she's got. All right. Good job, my
That's
man.
become my hit now. They demand it.
Deservedly so. That is a good one. All right. So let's go back to Tim here for a little bit. Tim, since you have this tremendous passion and enthusiasm for your new project, I want to know a little bit about your background and how you got and started on this adventure.
My background is in sales and business, entirely unrelated. About 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago, I dated a woman in San Diego that introduced me to a local husband and wife team that booked entertainment at a local club called Tango Del Rey in Pacific Beach. We walked in on one Monday night, and there in front of me is a piano, an MC, a microphone, a stage, and spotlights. And I thought, wow, this is a different kind of open mic. I've never seen anything quite like this. And as we sat there, I thought, man, this is a great way to spend a Monday night. People walked up to the piano with sheet music, and they sang these great old songs. And I wondered, can my karaoke days carry over and work here? And I felt like a fish out of water. So I went in, and for 52 Monday nights in a row, I sat at the same seat at the bar. Finally stood up and sang my very first song up in front of those fine, understanding folks. And the MC at the time was pulling together a 10-week cabaret workshop, and he asked me to be a part of it. Well, I declined on the first one, but took him up on his second offer for that second 10-week session. At the end of that 10-week session, I said to myself, this is for me.
You got the bug.
I want to do this. So I took 7 more workshops after that.
Oh, wow.
Well, at the end of the 7 or 8 workshop run, the workshops went away. The open mic was diminishing and going to go away, and I was offered the opportunity to pick it up. So I did. We lost the venue, had no place to hold it, so I actually held it in my home for the first 2 months until we landed Hennessy's. But all sorts of things happened around that same time. I wanted more of this cabaret workshop thing, and since I couldn't get it in San Diego, I was lucky to find Todd Schroeder and Carrie Kelsey's The Complete Cabaret Workshop up at the Gardenia, where I met Ray. And boy, did I feel like a fish out of water there. In the 6 or 7 weeks of that workshop, they crammed more material into a 3-hour program than we got in probably the 10 weeks of session we had in San Diego. And they actually expected you to come back having worked on specific things, and you really had to contribute and work and show that you were part of this whole thing. So anyway, I managed through that. It was a lot of fun, one of the most exhilarating and fun experiences of my life. And at the same time, Karen Giorgio in San Diego had put together a cabaret show, which she was featuring up at the Gardenia Room. So I made my way up to the Gardenia to watch her and her show. She came back to San Diego, performed at Martini's Above Fourth. I watched that show as well. And as time goes on, things happen. I'm up and back every now and then at the Gardenia, loving life in the cabaret setting. And I had the good fortune to be able to attend Ahmad Maggart cabaret show the end of October.
Yes.
Yeah, at the end of October, early November. And when I left there, I came home, and I thought about...
Ray used to feature Maud in his show quite a lot.
I bought the CD, by the way. Honestly, I just love what the two of you did and both your work. I thought to myself, I can't get a steady diet of this in San Diego, and I can't believe how good I felt when I walked out of that room, whether it was Karen's show or whether it was Maud's show. And I thought, San Diego needs something to light a fire so that we can get the word out and bring more acts to town, and I have a way to spend my $20 on a Friday night. So I did my research, and I found I went through the process of founding this San Diego Association of Cabaret Clubs. And am I answering your question?
Yeah,
Sometimes
absolutely.
I get off on a tangent. Okay.
No.
And then
exactly
got into the
same.
notion of pulling together this night of recognition. A friend of mine set me straight and said, Tim, I'll give credit to my friend Alan Land, who attends every Monday night at Hennessy's. So you've got to get away from the award notion. You're going to upset a lot of folks and cause a lot of discomfort. Thank you, Alan, because this is now a night of recognition in honor of everyone that can contribute to what we're doing down in San Diego.
Nice. So it's not an awards ceremony.
Well, in fact, everyone is awarded recognition. So if I really want to twist it and
do I get an award?
Yeah, absolutely. You're
Right.
for a reason. You're
All
there.
right.
In fact, you're going to present, by the way.
I am. That'll be fun. All right. Well, let us take a moment here. At every show, I take a little break to do some listings, some commercials for some things I have coming up. So if you'll indulge me, I'll do it. We call this 1001 Cabarabian Nights, and most of these are, there's a few live shows here, but mostly they're upcoming radio programs. My show next week here, I'm going to do some featured reporting from the NAMM show. The NAMM show is held in Anaheim, California, and it's kind of the most influential music convention of the year, where all the new music technology is revealed. And I've gone for many, many years because my brother is kind of a leading member of the technology community. He's worked with Herbie Hancock for 35 years, and so this is a crazy place that you need special credentials to get into it, but you're walking around and it's like Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder and everybody looking at the new inventions. So I'm going to that next week with a camera, and I'm going to do a little reporting on next week's show. And then let's see, also on January 26th, out in Palm Springs at Vicky's of Santa Fe, one of the singers I work with, Lauren White, is going to be doing her first gig at the jazz band concert there at the Vicky's at Santa Fe, Sunday, January 26th. Then also on February 1st, we're doing one of my variety evenings that I call Here and Now. I'm hosting, and I have Andrew Apple, Jackie Gibson, and Steve Masterson, all working on new shows that they're presenting. So that's going to be a very fun night. Then February 3rd, my guest here in the studio is Kate Pazakis. Kate has been here once before as part of my 13th anniversary of the Cabarabia Spotlight. But Kate is a very popular host of an open mic at the Rockwell, now it's called, Broadway bar at the Rockwell. And she's also been producing a new concert version of Rocky Horror Picture Show that is killer. Like, these amazing Broadway kid singers do a concert version, and Kate is producing and starring in that. So she'll be my guest on February 3rd. February 10th, I have Peter Gallagher, my very good friend Peter Gallagher. I met Peter 3 or 4 years ago and contributed a little bit to his concert that he has been working on for many years, where he tells stories of his movie career, American Beauty, Sex Lies Videotape, Idolmaker, Summer Lovers, While You Were Sleeping. I mean, every great movie you can imagine. And he is an extraordinary singer. He was the star of Broadway's Guys and Dolls. And he's doing a 3-night stint down at the Samuelis Theater at the Sangstrom Center of the Arts over Valentine's weekend. So Peter's going to come be my guest on February 10th to talk about his Valentine's show. And then the following week, I'm going to do a feature on Soulful Sundays starring Keith Borden and friends. And I'm going to have Keith Borden and Lorena Morrow here, and maybe a couple other friends. It's every other week at Don't Tell Mamas on Sunday nights. They're doing an R&B, soul, gospel night that is amazing. You've got to go check that out. And also, let's see, you have Jackie there. Jackie Gibson's going to come and talk about a new benefit we're doing called Jazz del Corazon. There's a gentleman that needs a heart transplant that we're going to have a jazz concert at Red, White, and Blues in Pasadena to help. And then on February 24th, my pal Eli Brueggemann. Eli Brueggemann is a brilliant jazz musician who was one of the main guys doing musicians playing around LA, and out of the blue about 2 years ago he got the job of musical director of Saturday Night Live. So now you call him and say, "Yo, Eli, what are you doing?" He goes, "Well, I'm sitting here with Mick Jagger or Dustin Timberlake or Katy Perry," or he has a crazy transformed life, and he's going to be in town on February 24th and be my guest. Then on March 3rd, there's going to be a concert production of Baby, the classic musical Baby, that originally starred Liz Calloway on Broadway, and she's reviving the part. My friend Michael Levine is the musical director for it. Douglas Sills is starring in it. And we're going to have a few interviews in the studio with some of those folks. And then on March 10th, we have once again returning my very close friends Beth Lapidus and Mitch Kaplan from the Uncabaret, which is one of the most popular acts in town in Los Angeles, one of the biggest attractions down at First and Hope ongoing on Sundays night. So that's what's coming up in the next month or so on the podcast and in the live clubs. And now back to our San Diego show. So we mentioned that you're going to have a lot of performers. You're going to have a lot of the San Diego locals will be performing.
Yes.
And then a few of our LA types are going to be there. Gabe Robin Spangler is going to be there performing.
That's right.
There you got Robin, and who I've done an interview with Robin. You can find the hour-long podcast with Robin on December 9th, I think it was, if you look in the archives. Francesca Amari. Francesca.
That's right.
She performed down in San Diego already. You said
Yes, she did. She was terrific.
had a great turnout.
Beautiful.
And then Carrie Kelsey, who you were just speaking of so fondly. As
Another wonderful
Carrie runs
contributor.
the Tuesday night open mic at the Gardenia, and we were all speaking so fondly of Carrie that she really is one of the major ambassadors of the cabaret community. She's a special personality about keeping all the. I've been joking with Tim about all the political factions that go on in a cabaret. He's filled with his youthful exuberance of just joining our club, but one of the things is you got to learn to navigate the politics, and Carrie is a very, very, very extremely good example of somebody who runs a very happy, good community filled with goodwill over there on Tuesday nights at the
She is a
Gardenia.
brilliant, smart
So we
woman.
love our Carrie. So tell us a little bit more about the local people, the San Diego people that
Well,
you have.
let me back up and let's talk about the LA and Palm Springs folks too.
Okay,
The three that you
please.
just mentioned
Yeah.
happen to be at the heart and soul of the
Right.
team that I put together as I made my way through this event. So I want to give them credit for that. But the San Diego contingent, at the very top of the list would be Lee Scarrett, the
Yes.
fabulous. She is the San Diego's preeminent actress, vocal coach, director. Well, she is a director in theater. I don't know everything about Lee, but she's going to open for us
Great.
on the 27th. I'm honored.
I remember her very well from when I first came to LA. She was a hot kid on the rise, a young girl in the
Okay.
Billy Barnes show Movie Star at the Westwood Playhouse with my friend Eileen Barnett, and she did this total killer number called Being a Busby Berkeley Girl.
Okay.
And she played like a Ruby Keeler type, I'm
Yes.
strapped to the harp, and it was such a funny song, and she did it beautifully. So nice to hear her name.
I've met her once, and it's going to be really nice to work with her
Yeah.
and carry on after the 27th. To follow up, Joe Savant is a local. He owns a business called, let me see, I have it written down here, Culture Shock. It's a dance studio in San Diego. He runs it with his daughter. And he had extensive time on Broadway in Peter Pan and Joseph and the Amazing Technical Dreamcoat. And he's been in films, on television. He's a big supporter. He's a cabaret performer himself. He'll be accompanied by Rami Sharoni, who wrote and recently performed at Martini's Above Fourth. Dinner for God was well attended. And he's well thought of too. Shelley and Shauna Hart, the Hart sisters, they've both since been married, of course, and dropped the maiden name and are either Ostrom or Brenneman. However, they're two highly recognized and active actresses in the San Diego musical theater community.
Nice.
I believe they founded the Actors Alliance of San Diego, which has now been turned over to Kevin Patterson, who's doing a wonderful job with that on behalf of the musical theater folks. And then the list really gets interesting from there. If you thought that was interesting, listen to what I have for you. There is this fabulous man that is with me almost every Monday night. His name is Neil Sullivan. He is 85 years young and tells a story in song like not few others. You are one that tells them just a bit better, Mr. Jessel, but Neil is fabulous and you'll love him. He's got some musical theater background in his early life as well. I'm going to be joined too by a young lady who just moved to San Diego from Texas, Olivia Holmes. She's 24 years old. She too has musical theater background, and she sits on a stool and holds a microphone like a woman not her age. I think you'll be surprised at the vibe, the feel when you listen to her. Jessica Mueller is also another young lady that'll be with us. She's in her early 20s. She's a last year law student and is a vocal student of Karen Overstreet, who's recognized as one of the best in San Diego from vocal actress. She's spent a lot of time on Broadway herself. Just finished a successful run with, the show doesn't come to mind, but it ran for 3 years. She was terrific. And I have a couple of Lee Scarrett students too that will make their first public appearance,
Excellent.
at least in this this genre.
And you're one of your headliners for sure, and no longer a surprise is Mr. Jessel here. Gabe, would you hit us with that picture of Ray that I didn't call up earlier? That's not Ray, that's Carrie Kelsey.
I'll take that, though.
she's in hot pink fringe. There you go, that's Ray. All right, and I wanted to revisit another clip of Ray performing. I want another one of your big hit songs.
Oh.
So hit it.
Do I have
Gabe.
two?
Great. I think you do.
Good.
I think you do.
When you get to a certain stage in life, a certain critical junction, when you get to a certain age in life, things start to malfunction. Your list of ailments begins to grow. Your reflexes begin to slow. But you know what's the first thing to go? I got the short-term memory loss blues. The short-term memory loss blues. I can't remember anything. Da 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 da. Short-term memory loss blues. I got the short-term. Now, where the hell did I put my keys? And where the hell did I put my keys? Memory loss. 7. That's the time we leave at 7. I'll be waiting up forever. Wait a sec, that's wrong. That's the bridge to another song. Memory loss. I'm glad that you're not in my shoes. It's a bummer when your memory's shot. I'd say the rest, but I forgot. Short term, what you call it? Short term. Don't tell me. It's all coming back to me now. I left them in my pants. I took to the cleaner. Now, if I could only remember which cleaner.
Right. That's so funny. You're so
What was so funny?
You're so funny. All right, so that's a little taste of the joy that is Ray Jessel that you'll be able to see next Monday night.
I'm
If
thrilled.
you're watching this in real time, it'll be Monday, January 27th. Give us the specifics and how they can get tickets.
At the Comedy Store from 7 to 10, 10:30 p.m. Actually, show up at the door. I don't have a PayPal or any other sort of account set up to purchase tickets. The ticket price, if you come alone, it's $15. Other than the 75 that I've given away, all right? I want to recover the cost for my tuxedo, take care of a couple of little details, and we're all good. But or two for $20 at the door. So bring a friend, $10 a piece. It's a pretty easy nut to handle.
All right, sounds good.
That is not my last word, though. Is that?
No.
Okay, good.
Do you think people need to make reservations, or do you?
Actually, the room holds 200, 210.
So you'll be okay.
I know we'll have between 70 and 80 are confirmed now. It's a matter of
all right
legs we sprout between now and then.
And Mr. Jessel and I will be there.
Yeah.
So
I
that
can't
makes
wait.
it gala
Honestly,
enough.
I'm thrilled. And I am so honored. The San Diego community needs you.
Well, there you go. So, in closing thoughts.
In closing, I want to ask Ray Jessel, who uses more than one dry cleaner to start with?
Oh, there's
It's a great song. I listened to it 3 times on the way home on Friday.
Well, I'll think about that. I mean, that song needs work.
No. All right. As far as the event is concerned, although we'll have some terrific entertainment, it really is an evening of networking and bringing the San Diego movers and shakers together with those from Los Angeles.
Wow.
And Palm Springs. You have such a wide and broad and deep brain trust up here. It made sense to include you so that you can impart some of that great knowledge and help out our local community do things quicker and faster.
I do want to bring up Todd Schroeder, since we talked about him a little bit. I know Todd has had a club ongoing on and off down in San Diego, so he has been helpful to you as
yes,
well.
He has.
Right?
He came out of the gate. When I sent those first emails out announcing this event, he came back like 100 miles an hour. I felt like I'd been hit on the side of the head with a baseball bat. It felt great. He said, I had this thing going on in Schroeder's in San Diego before. He says, I think, Tim, what you're doing down there is great. I'll help out any way I can. In fact, if you need somebody to play for you, I'm your man if I'm available. Unfortunately, he's not available.
Right.
But although this is a great night of entertainment, and I mean, you can't diminish the wonderful things you're going to hear and see on stage, it's the opportunity for everybody to network. I'm going to leave folks with 2 charges at the end of the night. First and foremost, first is, as the folks leave the room, understand, please, that the work is just now to begin. As you leave this room, talk cabaret, bring it up, spread the good word. And number 2, please know that I'm going to ask you all to come back this summer. I'll tip my hand to this one. This is a real important second step for us. I'm going to hold a cabaret roundtable in July or August of this year. I'm going to invite you all back, and when I get you all in the same room, I'm going to split you up into groups based on your business discipline, give you a set of questions to go answer so you can come back with something that we can put together as a deliverable for entertainers, producers, directors, musical directors, reviewers, promoters, and club owners, so you're all working on the same page to the same objective.
That will involve buying me pizza.
I can do that.
I will only participate in that if you buy me pizza. All right, so that's next Monday night. Monday night.
That's right.
January 27th at the Comedy Store in San Diego. In La Jolla?
In La Jolla.
In La Jolla.
On Pearl
Beautiful
Street.
La Jolla. And anything else you'd like to say, Ray, closing thoughts?
No, I think, cabaret needs movers and shakers, and
Absolutely.
Tim is both of those.
Indeed. Absolutely.
It's great to have him aboard, as it were.
Yep. Welcome to our Bonnie Shores,
I need you.
as it were. So let me thank some people involved in this broadcast. First of all, thank you so much, Mr. Jessel. It's
My
always a
pleasure.
great pleasure to see you.
My pleasure.
And Tim, thank you for coming up. I know it was a little bit of a schlep for you to get here from San Diego.
My pleasure. San Diego
On a
needs
weekday, but really thrilled to have you at Cabarabia on Global Voice Broadcasting. I'd like to thank my landlord and friend, Mr. Todd Murray here, who owns the Global Voice Broadcasting, and my producer, my associate producer, Tricia Tribbett, who is in absentia today, still not quite completely back from the holidays. And Global Voice Broadcasting's operations manager and my personal in-studio engineer, Gabe Harder. Thank you for everything, Gabe. And we will see you next week.
And so it seems that we have met before and laughed before and loved before, but who knows?